Every video game hero needs some kind of antagonistic force, something or someone for them to overcome. Bosses and villains are typically cruel and unfair, but some are just big fat jerks. Even people you're supposed to consider friends and partners take pleasure in making you miserable. Sometimes, the worst person in the room is the character you're controlling. For this list, we classified a jerk as someone who's insensitive and proud of it. Seeking world domination or ultimate power is typically bad, but these jackasses don't have to rub it in everyone's face. Some of these 10 personalities might entertain us or make us laugh, but they're still jerks.
Don't dally, you lucky stamp! The gift of the Godhead cometh!
The term wingman commonly describes someone who will put themselves at risk to protect you, make sure you have nothing to worry about, and get you out of trouble. Falco Lombardi. He's not really that guy. Sure, he'll occasionally offer a begrudging compliment, but he's usually cocky, loudmouthed, and unappreciative. He'll complain if you shoot his targets, and then later complain if you don't clear the area. If he can't shake a tail, he'll cry for help, but then belittle you once you've saved his skin.
Gee, I've been saved by Fox. How swell.
We're not sure if Fox stole his girl or made him clean the toilets, but this bird's got a massive chip on his shoulder. The pairing of the NES and the Zapper controller triumphed in inspiring multiple generations to band together and shoot at their television screens. But its worst offense by far is popularizing one of video games' first genuine trolls. The dog from Duck Hunt has a bad reputation, and for good reason. In a simple game of hunting for high scores, this quadruped ignores his status as man's best friend and laughs in your face upon every mistake or failure, only to taunt even further as you waste your bullets in futile attempts to exact revenge. While Super Smash Bros. On the Wii U finally gives us the chance to carry out a punishment decades in the making, his ability to fight back somehow makes it not quite satisfying enough. Time and again, the king of all cosmos unleashes thoughtless destruction, and in the aftermath, tasks his son, the prince, with cleaning up the mess. Drunken, demanding, and mega salty, the Katamari-loving patriarch doesn't tolerate any failure from his eager-to-please offspring. And if he doesn't get the point across with patronizing put-downs, a simple laser beam will do. Even if the prince succeeds, the king is still kind of a jerk, taking all the credit for himself. It's revealed that the king's attitude was likely shaped by his relationship with his own tyrannical father. Regardless, a visit or two from the Interplanetary Child Services might not be a bad idea. Glados, the genetic life form and disk operating system from Portal, is the ultimate voice in our head that we love to hate. In our discussion about what makes a jerk, we agreed the idea of the person choosing to do bad things is a key factor. Glados fits the bill. Even when she or it isn't sure why, Glados hates the central character Chell beyond reason. Glados is selfishly driven to make Chell test purely for an automated pleasure response. She attempts to kill Chell several times, and when given the chance to literally regain her humanity in Portal 2, she instead chooses to delete it. The ultimate objectivist surviving for survival's sake, we can all rest uneasy knowing that Glados is still alive. Albert Wesker is ready to sacrifice the entire human race just for his own vanity. Countless times he's hurt the loved ones of Resident Evil heroes, as evident by kidnapping Barry Burton's family and later making condescending remarks to Claire Redfield about the potential revival of the deceased Steve Burnside. Just to get under Chris Redfield's skin, he brainwashes Chris's partner Jill Valentine to make the two fight against each other. He continually uses other people for his own gain and sacrifices them when needed, showcasing his blatant disregard for other people's feelings. Just because you want to become a bioorganic weapon doesn't mean you have to be a total dick.
There you are, handsome.
Too much.
How have you been?
Oh, simply wonderful.
Oh, of course you must be the creepy one.
That's coming from you, please.
It's not clear what happened to Trevor in his life to turn him into such a menace to society, but he's about as despicable as an average human being can get. Throughout the campaign of Grand Theft Auto V, you're forced to watch him berate and degrade just about everyone he comes in contact with. Merely switching to the character will most likely locate him doing something horrible to himself or someone else in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's no justifying Trevor's behavior because he was clearly designed as the most morally bankrupt out of the 3 playable thugs in GTA V. The reason you're not finding this scumbag higher up on the list is we have a ton of fun playing as him, so maybe we're the ones with the problem. Every Final Fantasy game stars at least one jerk who thinks he, she, or it deserves to inherit the planet and evolve into its most powerful being. But Kefka is especially sadistic. Not only does he have one of the most infamous sinister laughs in video games, he takes more pleasure out of causing pain than most villains in the storied series. Perhaps his most devious act occurs when he's leading an army of troops attempting to take the castle of Doma. Instead of seizing it by force, he simply poisons the local water supply and wipes out nearly every man, woman, and child inside. His soliloquies are among the most warped and egotistical of all the series' baddies, and wiping the clown smirk off his face is a true pleasure. From Software is no stranger to untrustworthy and shady characters. Tricks and lies are common occurrences in the Soul series. Among its list of dubious characters, the reoccurring Patches is its biggest jerk. When you meet Patches, he has a smile on his face, friendly words on his lips, and the promise of treasure. However, Patches always has his own motives. Several times players are kicked off cliffs while investigating these teased riches. Patches laughs and mocks you from above, leaving you to die. When confronted later, he acts like it was all one big joke or misunderstanding to save his skin. Patches is a cold-blooded troublemaker who would lie to your face before stabbing you in the back. One would think that after being thwarted countless times in kidnapping attempts, it'd be time to call it quits. But not for King Koopa. When he's not seizing the lovely Princess Peach, he usually keeps busy by terrorizing the Mario Brothers or stealing magical artifacts. He's not doing future generations any favors by having kids either, as his parenting skills are severely lacking. The Koopa kids and Bowser Jr. are clear examples of an abusive father. He's also interfered with harmless games of Mario Party on numerous occasions, making appearances just to make people's lives miserable, probably because he never gets invited to play. It's been 30 years since he first harassed the Mushroom Kingdom, and he's made no attempt to change his attitude. At this rate, he may never redeem himself. The only way to properly describe why James Sunderland is a jerk is to spoil the entirety of Silent Hill 2, so consider this a fair warning. The game begins with James getting a strange letter from his deceased wife, Mary, that says she'll wait for him in their special place, referring to Silent Hill. Initially, James seems like an endearing everyman. He's soft-spoken, demonstrates compassion for others, and genuinely seems concerned about finding his maybe not deceased wife. You witness him suffer again and again as he faces the sort of twisted horrors that only Silent Hill can offer. Eventually, the truth becomes apparent, building to a heart-wrenching twist. 3 years earlier, James killed the terminally ill Mary by suffocating her with a pillow. Her sickness was a burden to James, so he ended it out of selfishness. The nightmares he encounters in Silent Hill are largely manifestations of his guilt, a punishment for his unforgivable sin. Most jerks are obvious, and it's easy to guess their intentions at a glance. James had something sinister hidden under a convincing facade, reminding us that sometimes the most hurtful among us are everyday people that just snap. If you haven't enjoyed GT's merry band of adventurers in our weekly D&D campaign, check out Tabletop Adventures, hosted by Ben Moore. And stop by our GT Reviews YouTube channel for a wrap-up of the 2 story-centric expansions to The Evil Within, including the latest chapter, The Consequence. We'll see you next Friday for another GT Countdown.